With almost 2 million Muslims living in the UK, more than half are under the age of 30. They have sometimes been portrayed in a bad light, but, according to a new book, they have the same concerns as the rest of society in the UK. Young British Muslim Voices says many are becoming more religious and see it as a way of setting them apart from their parents.
Behind that is something which I don't think people really understand. I think most people, when they see or interpret young Muslims turning to Islam, they think, oh, it's because they're getting alienated from Britain, it's because they're culturally alienated from Britishness and so on. Actually, I didn't find that to be the case. None of them said they were culturally alienated from Britain. All of them said they were perfectly happy to call themselves British, perfectly happy to call themselves Muslim. They didn't see a contradiction between the two. And in fact, the deeper I probed, the more I realised that actually the key cultural conflict for these young Muslims is not with Britain, but with the cultures of their parents.
Now the next generation of young Muslims are redefining their attitudes.
There's a great deal of dynamism amongst young Muslims which is just not being picked up, because all the attention is being directed to these very dogmatic, intolerant, fanatical militants and radicals. But actually, if you strip away that veneer and you look beyond in the community, there is a great deal of intellectual ferment going on amongst young Muslims. They're much more flexible. They're reinterpreting their key texts in ways that will allow them to live in a multi-faith, multicultural society.
Today's British Muslim women are more active outside the home, taking part in a wide variety of sporting activities and are vocal in their lives.
One of the things that was very interesting was how many young Muslim women who wore the hijab actually played sport, played football, basketball, netball and all these things. They're not the classic stereotype of the submissive Asian woman, if you like. They're very assertive. In fact, I found the women much more assertive in many ways than the men were, and much more creative as well.
30 young people were spoken to across the UK and from different socio-economic groups. And according to the book, there is an emergence of a new British Islam.
Yeah, you think they should, but that's your own value that you have.
What we're beginning to see is the stirrings of the kind of rethinking required for that to emerge. Like I said, the key dynamic is a generational one between older Muslims and their version of Islam and younger Muslims and their version of Islam. And that's going to take some time to play out. And the younger Muslims, they haven't got it all worked out yet. That's one of the key things in the book I've written, that you know, these are shapes and forms that are projecting out into the future, but they haven't fully worked them all out yet.
Young British Muslim Voices dispels some of the myths about radical Muslim youth and finds many are happy to be both British and Islamic. They're now redefining their religion and lifestyle in today's Britain to ensure it will work for them in a modern, open, multicultural society.